Today in the crypto space, we see the market looking nice and green. Bitcoin right around 91,300, up approximately 7%, and Ethereum back to the $3,000 mark, doing pretty good also, almost 8%, 9% to the upside. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, guys, I want to talk about Ethereum. Why? Because if Ethereum continues to show strength here, it is very likely that we're going to see some of these altcoins continue to the upside. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what we got going on here, because we see a bit of a pump here, guys. It's not bad. Obviously, we called the pump last night on the live stream. You guys know we've been focusing on this pump. Right, we want to, confirm that right now a lot of the altcoins are also pumping, so we got good moves to the upside here. We see the market cap above the $3 trillion. Obviously, we have a bit of ways to go to get back to $4 trillion, right? But it's up 7%. It's not bad at all. However, guys, without volume, the pumps can be celebrated. We celebrate all the pumps here on this channel. Of course, we do. However, we have to be real about them. The truth is where's the volume at? Where's the market participation? We got a little bit of a move up right into here, as you can see, but nothing major. We want to see real volume, right? Now, just be prepared as the market cap forms structure, as Bitcoin forms structure, Ethereum forms structure. And the truth is that both of those heavyweights define the majority of the total market cap. We have to see a potential structure that induces market participation. Unfortunately, this move did not. So what happens now? The truth is, with these thin order books, or with very little liquidity, right, into the market, we can definitely get into a scenario where we can start moving aggressively and maybe induce a bit of that retail, a bit of that FOMO, a bit of that scenario. Even short squeezes, guys. People are shorting here. I understand why. I totally do. However, that recipe of overshorting these types of levels, these types of moments, cause squeezes. And those squeezes cause continuations to the upside, melt-ups. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Guys, don't forget to join me live tonight at 8 p.m. We'll talk about all things crypto. We'll definitely take a look at all types of different charts. And it's a great place, a time and place for you to make any requests. And I take a request and we look at charts. We talk about fundamentals and all that good stuff. All right, so last night I did talk about, in fact, yesterday I talked about Bitcoin. I released that video on Bitcoin, basically highlighting the structure and the setup. Last night we talked about Bitcoin and the potential bounce, and here we are, getting a nice bounce, up 7%, Ethereum 8-9%, outperforming Bitcoin slightly. We have BNB doing well, Solana 12%. We got a few others here. The list goes on. Cardano 15.4%. We have Sui also almost 20%. Where's Sui? Sui's somewhere over here. Almost 21%, guys. Crazy gains on some of these, right? Double-digit pumps. But guys, we have to put this into context, and I'm going to do that today. I'm going to put it into context. We're going to look at the Ethereum chart and put this pump into context. The reality is nothing happened. Guys, don't erase months of downwards and forget that we've been on a downtrend for a few months here now. And the truth is that, even a 10% pump is not really going to change the market structure. We are still in a downtrend on the 4-hour time frame. Macro on Bitcoin, okay, it is what it is. The daily is still in the uptrend. We all get it. However, it's the alts that we're focusing on. And that's the reason why I want to talk about Ethereum. Because before we get bullish here on the alts and we start going all in, throwing the house at it, what we need is a bit more confirmation. by Ethereum. Not all the altcoins, not all of them will run at the same time, right? We got some good gainers. Look at Near Protocol, doing great. You guys know that's one of my picks. I'm focusing on Near. I've been building positions on various projects. I feel I need to buy a little bit more Sonic. I think I'm due for a bit of an accumulation right there. Athena looking pretty good, 9%, not bad. But relatively speaking, if you're buying spot right now, it is a good time, even on a bit of a move to the upside, right? Wait for maybe a 50% retrace and buy more. I understand if you're going to do that. That's totally fine. But start DCAing, guys, because these are the moments where these structures are built for potential reversals, right? So Aptos, okay, poor Aptos. This chart looks pretty bad. It's up 6.3%. We're going to celebrate that. But relatively speaking, from market structure perspective, it still looks bad. And as we keep on coming down, we have other projects. We have VeChain, 8%, Filecoin. These OGs are getting a bit of pumps here and there. But the truth is, overall, the market is up, give or take 10%. Congratulations, guys. We got a bit of a move. Now what? Now what? All right, guys. Let's see what's going on with the general market here. We can see that there's a lot, of different posts right now regarding crypto doing good. Let's see what I'm following here. That's my random feed. But you can see that there's a lot happening, right? People are celebrating different things. Bitcoin pumping. Bank of America will allow its wealth management clients to allocate 1 to 4% of their portfolio to crypto starting January 5th. Guys, we're unleashing liquidity here, and in that possibility. Some XRP news, different things, guys. Obviously there's always good catalysts, but this pump was great. Nailed this entry. Good for you, buddy. A lot of people did pretty good here. Tether FUD usually makes market bottom. Do we have a FUD? It's getting attacked so often. Are we getting FUD? I don't know if it's getting FUD, but be careful out there with FUD at these moments, because these are the moments where things kind of like, shake you out of your bags before we get massive pumps. It is what it is. And then we get the MSTR, the overall micro strategies scenario. Guys, is that something that we need to focus on, or can we just, put it aside and let Sailor do his thing? Because literally, Sailor doing his thing is what a lot of us are depending on, and in the sense that, seeing projects or businesses holding Bitcoin in treasury and relying on Bitcoin, to hold up an entire, company, that's pretty much leveraged, in my opinion. We got to be aware that MicroStrategy's banking on Bitcoin, and so are we. So a little bit of support there is great, right? So let's jump right into Ethereum, guys. I know you're to talk about charts. Let's see what's going on with ETH. Ultimately, ETH on a downtrend here on the 4-hour. What's really happening here? Nothing. I'll be honest. There's nothing really happening here. It was a great pump. We're gonna celebrate it. Bitcoin ETH back to about $3,000 is great, but guys, we have a long way to go to get back to the previous high, to about 47,000, 48,000, 4,800. Are we almost ready for the reversal? Let's take a look at this in a little bit of detail. The truth is like I said, nothing is happening, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Is because the truth is, at this level, we got a very important order block. We got a very important node of volume. You can see that right here. That could act as support. We have the point of control here, guys, which is also very good confluence. And if you kind of include the rest of the Ethereum chart, the truth is that there's still more downside potential, key term potential, to come down to range lows, right? These bottoms, all here are still, all these bottoms are still here. However, this bottom and these bottoms and these bottoms and this bottom have been higher, right? They've been higher lows. Is this it? Maybe this is the higher low, another higher low before we go for another higher high. You got to admit, this was a higher high above these two tops. It wasn't really a higher high above this top. We kind of peeked through, to be honest. Slight moment of price discovery. However, from an Ethereum perspective, we got to understand what Ethereum represents. It represents the notion that the market is ready to get risk on. The notion that the market is ready to pivot some of its capital from Bitcoin and into altcoins. And not to say that we want Bitcoin to drop, because that would be counterintuitive, right? Ethereum would also fall. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Bitcoin hold steady and kind of go sideways within a range for a little while, allowing Ethereum to catch up. That typically happens, guys. And then Bitcoin goes for another run, and then altcoins kind of like dip a little bit, as Bitcoin sucks liquidity out of the market, and then Ethereum and altcoins go for another run. And then we potentially go for a blow off top where, Bitcoin kind of goes for its run, it starts to fall, altcoins run one last time, and we get those euphoric phases. Guys, this is all nostalgia that I'm talking about. Look where we are. Ethereum is still within the range, and I'm talking about blow off tops. As you can see, we've already attempted a breakout. We got basically rejected at the previous top. We're back to a level of which might hold support, and we are looking at range lows as the target. We cannot deny that this range low, more or less, okay, we got to be real. This more or less is the range lows, okay? If we don't understand that, that means we're gambling, right? The truth is that Ethereum can still come down to 1300. But I'm not going to be banking on that. What I'm doing right now is focusing on this retracement, on this dip, on the 4-hour structure that we've been talking about, this right here. Okay. And this is also a structure that I've been focusing on Bitcoin. So at this stage, what we got to realize is that we're struggling here. The struggle is real. And we've struggled similarly in the past. We got to admit, similarly, right? This is very similar. But eventually, these struggles will turn into reversals. I don't necessarily believe that this current moment we're getting a complete reversal. I think it's a good move up. I think it's a good opportunity to potentially get some confirmations upon a dip. As you can see, we're falling as we speak. Maybe coming down to about 2,800 would be great to buy the dip and accumulate a little bit of altcoins at that level. Understanding that our complete invalidation has to be below 2,650. We drop below 2,600, guys. The truth is, it's going to look similar to what happened here, right? We run up, we get rejected, maybe a dead cat bounce of some sort of structure. If we break below here, guys, we're coming down. We're coming down for another BOS. A BOS to the downside, it assumes a continuation. And then what, 2,000? How low do we go here on ETH? However, that's the bearish case. Obviously, it's easy, to discuss. And if we look at the oscillators, right, a little bit of choppiness. If you get back on the daily, you might be able to see that we're already oversold in a big way here on the daily. So this is an ideal zone on the daily to get a reversal. Okay, this is the truth. Volatility tried today, okay, to push down, and look what happened. Bang, straight back up. And that's the way things work, guys. We don't go all in straight lines, as you can see. And this kind of like got a bounce at a perfect moment. People that thought we were rolling over, and look at the momentum, guys. Just let me quickly make this bigger here on the daily. Look at the momentum. Round it off, making a higher high. Expansion tapering in. This Uno reverse right here on the volatility line, this what's happening right here, means that it's very possible we see volatility hang up, right? And if it hangs up and it stays there, what about if momentum, the purple line, slowly tracks to that zone? Guys, I'm telling you, Ethereum can recover and recover hard, right? So right now, we're looking for a shift in momentum here at the bottom in oversold conditions. Is this possible? Yes, it is. It is possible. In the meantime, we have to be aware that we're talking about the daily time frame. Anything can happen intraday. Anything can happen tomorrow. We could be very volatile here in the next little while, in the sense that we could retrace even 50%. Like I said, we couldn't even retrace and make a lower low and drop below 2650. All of that is still on the table, guys. Okay, we have to be real about that. We've got pumps like this in the past. Okay, so again, context. What really happened? Let me just quickly. Nothing. This pump was beautiful, but relative to what happened to the past, it's a very insignificant pump, right? So what does that mean? We have plenty of time to DCA. Based on the daily, we are bottomed out on momentum. Volatilities potentially might come down, but we're oversold in every way. Trend oscillator oversold, a bit of divergence, still in the bearish control zone. Anything could happen. We could still be, hesitating here at the bottom of the range. And it could take maybe up until next week before we actually get a proper structure here, maybe where we actually reverse. So it doesn't have to take that long, but you get what I mean. Something, right? Usually, look how long this distribution took. What about an accumulation here? How long could it take? Let's say it even takes half the amount of time, guys. It's going to take a couple of days. So be patient. Don't get chopped up here. Why? And I'm going to be very clear about this. The transitionary phases from bearish to bullish, the transition phase from bearish to bullish cause a lot of people to give back gains, cause a lot of people to lose money and wreck accounts and so on and so forth. And it goes likewise from bullish to bearish. Do you know how many people got wrecked into this level? Lots of people. Lots of people trading, holding long positions, trapped up in long positions right at these tops, expecting a continuation into price discovery. Guys, we were all bullish at this level, right? Obviously, but I was one of the only ones out there saying fresh longs. Absolutely not. And you can tell. And I have the evidence. Go look at my videos. Absolutely not. No fresh longs here. The time to go long was down here, right? That's where I started reaccumulating Ethereum, right? So at this moment, I'm going to tell you this. If we continue building a proper market structure shift, a change of character in this downtrend at this level, I am going to continue deploying capital. I have been, right? So starting last night, I started deploying capital. This morning, I deployed capital. Things were looking good. But ultimately, nothing has happened with regards to change of character here on the daily. The 4 hour will give us a little bit more. Obviously, look what happened today. Nice V recovery. And this is what I was talking about on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has a very similar structure here in the lower time frames. As you can see, we're getting a bit of a slowdown, actually a push down. We're going to look at that very shortly because that doesn't look so good. But this is nice. A nice little bounce here. Higher low confirmed. No higher high. Higher low confirmed. Let's see if we can get into an exchange of hands right here. Let's drop to the 1 hour. Let's see if we can get something. An exchange of hands right into this level. Guys, you got to admit, look at this nice pivot point structure. It looks beautiful. This is really, really nice. Then we expanded through the previous imbalance. Look at the imbalance, how we expanded. We still left massive, massive imbalance here, a volume gap that would allow the price to fall even further. Let's be real about that. So it could come right back down to where it came from. Come back to the point of control. 28.50 would be my short target at the current moment. Stop losses up here, just in case this becomes an exchange of hands. An exchange of hands would be something that does this for a little bit, right? Allows people to are taking profit. You got to respect that people are going to be taking profit from this trade. You know, some follow through out of this market structure here, and then eventually hitting resistance based on the previous horizontal. It's expected that people are going to take profit. However, if there's enough bullish sentiment where that selling will get absorbed by bullish buying, we might go sideways here or retrace slightly. You know, a retracement here will be fine. And then a continuation. That's an exchange of hands. People will be calling this a cup and handle. It is what it is. However, if we do not hold the current level, actually right now, there's an imbalance that begins and we can fall right down to 28.50. Guys, it looks pretty hectic out there right now. It looks like this thing wants to fall. Okay, so this is the shorting position. If you're a breakdown trader in this case, look at the market structure. We confirm the lower low. It's falling as I speak. This is the time to potentially get into a short, understanding that if we get back in the range, you got to take get yourself out of there. So right now, if we continue moving down, it's a shorting position. If we somehow get back above, back test in spring, guys, this was a fake out. This was a failed breakdown. So far, it's looking good. So far, a little bit of volume, nothing major. The momentum is pushing down to the downside, 100%. Right, expansions are tapering in, and as you can see, look at the momentum shifting. We're still oversold. It looks like it wants to wait for that to fall, and it is what it is, guys. Be careful out there. EMA is facing down, right histogram bars. The market is preparing for closing, and ultimately Asia market tonight. Let's see what they got. So if we can come down to this level, I would be glad to get into another long position to see what the Asia markets does. It could be very possible. Shorting is a little bit late at the current moment because it is falling. It is in a breakdown phase. So it's a little bit risky here, but you can see what I mean. The truth is that it made a lower low and a higher low, and this fake, this lack of impulse that made a higher high here is not a good look. And there's a bit of divergence, higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum. If we can kind of get rejected here, maybe get down to the 5-minute, get rejected, and start rolling over here, the imbalance right here will take you to about 850, 2850, and that's the trade right there. So generally speaking, guys, Ethereum is still in a very volatile state. It's still in a place where we're trying to get confirmations of structural reversal. Without that structure, guys, we're taking risk. Be careful out there because we're going to have our moment. We're going to have time to DCA and accumulate and take it easy. Don't take that risk. And if you're going to trade the lower time frames, get in, get out. take your profit, buy spot with those profits. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.